Welcome to Later is Greater, Women Over 60 Embracing Life. I'm your host, Stella, and I'm so glad that you chose to be here today because we're continuing a beautiful conversation around the important subject of living authentically after 60. You know, there's nothing more beautiful in our lives than being true to ourselves, being who we were meant to be. And the older we get, the more precious that life becomes to us. Today we're talking about discovering yourself through journaling. Journaling can help you gain deeper insights into your life and help you reflect on how you arrived at where you are today. I noticed this in myself, and this is a really lovely episode to be sharing with you. There are a growing number of studies talking about the benefits of journaling. I can only attest to how personally it's had an impact on my life. I realize that journaling is a powerful tool for self-discovery. The reason for that is because what we have inside us, we bring on the outside. And we put it down on paper or we type it into a Word document or another digital document. And by looking and observing it, we detach from it. That could be a very good thing if what we want to detach from is a limiting belief. However, there is another aspect to journaling that I have tried and I found giving me tremendous peace. Art as therapy. This really complements the practice of journaling. I created a beautiful resource for you called My Journal Teaches Me About Myself. You can download this through the link in the description box. It's free for you. The idea of keeping a journal may be familiar to you, and to others it may be something that is not very comforting. However, even if you don't consider yourself to be a writer, even non-writers keep journals. When you open yourself to journaling, you experience a new wealth of self-understanding. By writing bits and pieces of your life experiences, you can begin the incredible journey of self-discovery. Once you start thinking about something that happened to you in the past, you'll find yourself remembering another story and then another. I know many people say, do not dwell on the past. We're not dwelling on the past. We're revisiting our past to understand how certain events in our life have impacted us in emotional and psychological and even physical ways, and they are the reason why we are perhaps struggling with something in our life today. Or they may also be the reason why we are excelling in something we do today. The idea of making an effort to recall experiences from your past triggers memories that you haven't thought about in years. And know that all of the experiences that you will recall have combined to make you the person you are today. To backtrack through some of your life stories will actually help you understand yourself much more. There are a few steps that can help you get started in this journey. First of all, decide how you want to write your story. Will you use a spiral notebook and a pen, a journal, gel pens, or is a computer the obvious choice for you? Are you going to create a digital journal? And I know that that is very popular today. Next, don't worry about starting at the beginning. This isn't a timeline review. It isn't a life review. Interestingly, many people avoid trying to write down stories of their lives because they can't remember back that far. That's not what we're talking about here. Where you start the story is not important. The only thing that matters is starting it. Following that, think of your life as a series of short chapters. Of course, we have all heard the metaphor, this next chapter of my life. Well, that is a good metaphor. To simplify your story, each situation that you recall can be a chapter. For example, you might remember a time at the cottage when you went fishing and the boat turned over and you got soaked and it was a funny experience. These memories that come to the forefront, start with those. I'm not saying that they have deeper meaning or anything, but create a chapter of that. Very often when you revisit what you have written, that's where the revelation comes. This is not a timeline or a life review. Just begin with the first memory that comes to mind and make it a chapter. It doesn't even have to be one. It could be just a chapter. Next, focus on getting the story down. Don't worry about sentence structure, spelling, grammar. These aren't what's important at this point, unless you want to publish it and make it a memoir. For all intents and purposes, we just want to get the story down, to be able to look back at it. If you want, you can deal with all the grammatical and the spelling errors or corrections that you choose to make. You can do that later on. Just focus on the story. Next, the order of your stories is irrelevant. There are two ways that I would suggest that you start writing your stories. If you're doing it on a computer, for example, open a new document for each chapter and title that document accordingly to describe your story. Or you can simply write all your stories in one document. If you feel the need later on, you can copy and paste stories into whatever order you like. The idea is to just not worry about the order of your stories. Very simply, document just what you remember. Get down the information about what happened, what you did, what you thought, and how you felt. These details will ultimately lead you to develop a better understanding of how you've lived your life as an adult. The important thing is don't focus on the end result. Otherwise, you will start overthinking. As you continue writing, more and more parts of your life will come to the forefront. This will offer you an opportunity to learn to understand and even love yourself more than you ever have. I can only say that in my personal life, I have journaled every year. I can say that since I began my divorce journey, I had been journaling every day or every month. And at the end of the year, I do a review of the year and I encapsulate each month. So, for example, now I'm looking back at 2024 and I'm looking at January, February, March, and I write down 1 or 2 points that happened that month. I do that for 2 reasons. The main reason is to see how far I've come. Because when I began this divorce journey, I was riddled with fear. And I realized that I'm making progress every day towards living life on my own terms. And this is very significant, especially when your life turns upside down and you have to start all over. It's nice to be able to look back and see how far you've come. It's also showing me things that I have done that are great. They're not all problems, you know. There's a lot of positivity in the journaling aspect because you forget your accomplishments. You forget things that you have done and you have benefited your life, that you have leveled up, or you have made an important pivot in your life in one area or another. You're living the benefit of that decision today, but it's been so long since you did that you've forgotten what you did. If you are worried about looking back, you're looking back only to see how far you've come. You're looking back only to understand yourself better. I know it's kind of funny to say, but you begin to love your inner child more. We are in our 60s, and yet we're still daughters. We never forget our parents. We never forget our childhood. These are important things to document because they are also beautiful memories. Memories that you cherish. I know I've done a few pages in some of these journals that I've illustrated. I look back on them and I said, oh my gosh, I did that? So there's a lot of benefit to this journaling process, and it has such a lovely segue into art as therapy. My playlist on art journaling isn't an art tutorial as much as it is a relaxation activity. The art aspect that I bring to you are simple activities that you can do. They're not expensive. When you open yourself up to doing something creatively, if my memory serves me correctly, the frontal lobes shut down activity so that you can focus on creation. And that activity lowers the volume of stress in your body. It elicits a relaxation response in your body. So I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but when you're in a creative work, you lose track of time. That's a good thing. That means you're giving your brain a break. You're letting your brain relax. And when your brain relaxes, your whole body relaxes. It's very therapeutic. And it's very helpful, especially when we're going through challenging times. I don't need to be an economist to tell you that we are living through challenging times. So at this point in our lives, journaling becomes an easy activity that we can do on the daily basis, on a weekly basis, that helps us to lower the volume of anxiety that we're dealing with and give us a break, escape from the stresses of our everyday life. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend this segment of time of your day listening in on my podcast. Next week, we're going to be talking about discovering your personal set of values. Why is that even a subject? Because your personal values shape your life and help you find your purpose. Things are different in our lives after 60, and defining our personal values is crucial for creating a joyful life going forward. I really hope you'll join me then. In the meantime, don't forget to download the free document, My Journal Teaches Me About Myself.